Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and today I thought we would have a look at a pile of e-waste. Right, basically story behind this. I spent a big chunk of yesterday, probably from 10 AM in the morning till about 6 in the evening, helping out a friend of mine. Like myself, she has a house that she rents out. Now, unlike me, I rent mine to a absolutely fantastic family who are never any trouble. You know, if they ask me to do something, I do it straight away. My rent's always paid on time. The house is never a mess, anything like that. Unfortunately, my friend, instead, she had her house rented out to basically multiple people. They were renting like one of the 3 bedrooms and just use of the house, and it hasn't gone too well. Basically they've done a lot of damage to the house, and she actually ended up having to get the courts involved and actually have them evicted because they stopped paying their rent. They changed the locks on the house so she couldn't get in, and basically she had to get the courts involved. It's cost a lot of money and what have you, and yesterday she finally actually got basically that they were out of the house they had left, and we could actually get in there and see what we could do with the property. And they have done a lot of damage, unfortunately, and they're basically left in a right mess. I've got quite a large, you know, SUV. I put all the seats down in that, and that together with my friend's estate car, we did 6 runs to the local rubbish dump full of bags of rubbish and furniture and just everything that they basically left in the house. It was revolting. But what, as it was clearing up, basically what wasn't just me helping her out. Some of our other friends did come and give a lift as well. And basically what they did was put this bag in one of the rooms, and anything that was electrical that was found in the house went in this bag. Then as I was leaving at the end of the day, she basically said, take that, see if there's anything that you can use in it, and then just recycle the rest. So that's what we've got here. I'm not in a least bit worried about going through someone else's electronics, because quite frankly what they did to that house, they don't deserve to have nice things. So yeah, that's what we've got here, is all the stuff that was just abandoned in that house. Like I said, they had taken obviously what they wanted, like the big TV out of the living room and other stuff, all the personal possessions, and all this was just left there. So what I thought we'd do is we'd go through this and basically see what we've got, see if we can actually make any use of any of this stuff. I really don't know what we've got. I haven't put everything in this bag. I think I put a couple of bits and bats in here as we were clearing out, but like I said, literally that's what we have. We have a huge bag of just what we can describe as e-waste. First thing, let's say we've got a Virgin Media. I don't know whether Virgin want this back or anything, but they're not having it. It's mine now. I don't have Virgin or anything like that. The only reason I thought, oh, I'll take that is got a 500 gig hard drive in there. So if nothing else, I'm just going to pull the hard drive and probably the power supply if it's a separate unit. If not, I'll just pull whatever useful components I can from that. So nothing else, we've got a 500 gig hard drive there, and if indeed it works. A little TV as well. Let's have I'll just get the things that are out of the bag out of the way first, and then we can actually delve in the bag, because obviously I don't actually really know what's in here. But we've got this. I mean, I've never heard of the make before, but we've got I think it's about 20. Does it say on it? Oh, it's 22 inch, so it's not a bad size actually. There was a monitor for in here. And then again, I'd only have one monitor then, because I could only fit, but it is nice. But we've got a CeeLo, is it? Widescreen. It's a TV, DVD thing. It needs a DC power supply, 12 volt DC input. I could use this on my boat actually. But we'll see if we can see if that works. I'm guessing actually, probably most of this stuff ain't going to work, is it? I mean, they're not going to leave a perfectly good TV in the house, but we may very well be able to do something with it. I can't actually see that the screen doesn't look like it's been cracked or anything, so like I say, it probably doesn't work, but there's a good chance we can possibly get it to work. I think I did actually, because I found this in one of the bedrooms under one of the beds. I think I did actually drop the power supply for it in this bag, so we can at least see whether that works. Let's put that out of the way for a sec, and we'll get onto the bag of goodies. This is like the proper stuff, because this is the stuff that I haven't personally gone through myself. Like I said, literally everyone that was helping clear out was just throwing anything electrical that they could find in here. So let's see what we've just empty out on the bench, shall we? We'll put on my desk. Let's see what we've got. Wow. Right. Right, let's see what we've got in here. Well, I've got a mount for something there, I think, for a handlebar mount to something. I won't be able to use that for something, actually. Let's have a look. Yeah, they obviously did have, well, I know the house is set for Virgin Media, but Virgin Media Wi-Fi router there. Don't know if I'll be able, I might, say if it's any good, I might be able to stick that on eBay or something. I don't actually know if these are any use for anything else. Like I say, I don't have cable myself, so they've only just put cable actually up my street, and none of it's connected yet. Yeah, there's a lot of like, I think cable. Piece of plastic. There's a lot of cable stuff here. In fact, what I might do while we're doing this, I might just get some insulation tape, and at least we can wrap some of these cables and bits and bats up, and it'll at least be a bit more use, won't there? Have we got some insulation tape lying around here? I'm sure I have somewhere. Come on, where's my little toolbox gone? I keep up here because I'm sure I've got some insulation tape in that. Oops. Let's have a look under here. What have I done with it? You know, it's such a tiny... Ah, it's there. Such a tiny room, this. It's absolutely a miracle that you seem to lose things in it so easily. We've got a bit of insulation tape there. That'll help. What else have we got? Evotel. Oh, we've got a manual for a TV that we don't have, so that can go in the bin. Manual for a Vax, for a Bosch blender. Throw them in the bin. We've got in this bag. Start with the first bag. Ooh. That's already wrapped. We've got like a mic cable, 3-pin XLR to mono 1/4" jack. That's useful. And I think that was like a 3-pin XLR to XLR. Yeah, 3-pin XLR to XLR. You know, like top quality ones, but they're not rubbish ones, so they can go in my stock of XLRs. I don't do a huge amount of audio, like, you know, DJ type stuff anymore, but I'll find it easy for them. We've got I've got Duracell battery charger with a couple of Duracell rechargeables in it. Needs a external wall wart to run it, but we'll have to see if they're any good. They might be handy. That's a power supply for 24 volts AC. I've got a pile of these. They're handy for all sorts of stuff, actually. It's 24 volt AC power supply design for like them Christmas lights, fairy lights, stuff like that. And I've got a box of these, so at least that can just go in with my other ones. Okay, I'll test it at some point. What else we've got? I mean, this is one of the reasons I thought, yeah, we'll take this, is that there's power supplies in here, and they're always handy. You can always repurpose. Oops, this thing's falling everywhere. What's that? Oh, again, brand new HDMI cable. Handy, useful thing just to have in the drawer. It's got quite a bit of network cable here as well, which I was actually in need. I was in need of some Cat5 cable. That's quite a nice flexible one as well, because the cable that runs from the computer that I have down there basically, it's rather tight. It just reaches where it needs to reach, and if I move anything I do risk damaging it, so that looks like it might be very slightly longer. I think the one that's on there is like 3 metre, and I think that might be a 5, so that could be really handy. Again, another useful. In fact, I'll put that in my drawer here because I'll have a play with that after I've done this video. There's another, that's a shorter one, but in fact what I'll do is I'll put all the Cat5s in this drawer and then I can go through them after. But yeah, Ethernet cables are always handy. You know, so I did need a slightly longer. Oh, sugar. That's a bit of an old HP printer. I think that can go straight in the bin. Like I said, what was I saying anyway? Yeah, one of the reasons why I thought, oh yeah, we'll take all this lot, because I did kind of I did when she said, you know, you take all that lot, you might be able to make use of it. I did kind of think at one point, no, just, well, because it was like when we were just doing the last run, like, I was going to just say to her, no, just, we'll take it to the tip and throw it in with all the other e-waste at the tip. But then I thought, there's things like this in here, there's power supplies in here and what have you, and these are handy, you know, they can be used for whatever you need a random power supply for. I mean, what's this one? This one is 12 volts or 1.5 amps, so, you know, useful supply. I mean, yeah, I could have sat there and spent half an hour and gone through them and just pulled all the power supplies out and then e-waste just dumped the rest, but then we wouldn't be able to make this video, would we? So I thought, yeah, I'll take it and I'll go through it and I'll show all you guys what we can get out of it, what's actually worth keeping out of this lot. It's actually, seemingly actually, it's not too much crap in here. It seems to be some fairly useful stuff. In fact, would this be the power supply for that Virgin Media modem, possibly, or that Virgin Media box? Because I think both of them, does the Virgin Media box, that's got a built-in power supply, hasn't it? Yeah. Oh no, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. That uses 12 volts at 36 watts. Odd way of putting it. They usually put it with how many amps, but it could be for that. Not that that really matters. So for what we want it for, because we're not going to be using that Virgin Media box or the modem or anything. It's just a good little useful 12 volt power supply, so that's one definite keeper. There seems to be quite a few cameras and phones and stuff. Let's go through it, see if we can get some of these power supplies out and see what we've got anyway. What's this one? Figure of 8 on it. 18 volts, 2.5 amps. So that's like a laptop supply, isn't it? Is it like a crap lead for a laptop supply? But 18 volts, 2.5 amps. Like a little netbook or something like that, maybe? Or at least a replacement supply for. In fact, it'd probably, if the connector will fit, it'd probably run that TV. I'm sure that TV had like more of a wall wart plug-in style one. Again though, useful power supply. So let's just wrap that up. I mean, I don't think this video is going to be for everyone. It's more for some of the other weirdos like myself, that can see like a big pile of junk and what actual potentials in there. Oops. Right, so that's another good power supply, another 12 volt power supply we've got there. I think that's the power supply for that TV. Is it? 12 volts, 3 amps. I think that's the power supply for that TV. It was did have the power supply with it when I found it, so what we'll do, I'll put that to one side, and we might, as a final thing, to see what that TV does, whether it actually powers up or it's got a major fault or whatever. Let's get these. These cable TV type cables with the F connectors on them. Not a huge amount of use to me, but you never know when I'll need one. And someone says, "Oh, can you move a cable box for me? Or have you got one?" Two of them. I'll stuck. So again, we'll get them out of the way. Actually, there's a lot of them, I think. I'm sure with Virgin Media coming round and installing in our area, sooner or later I'll get a call off someone that I know that they need another cable or a splitter or something, and I'm sure I'll have one in this lot. So we'll do that. We'll tape that up. What else have we got here? Again, very handy. Video, stereo, audio, phono-to-phono cable. Always useful for us vintage vintage computing collectors. Very handy. In fact, that can go straight in my drawer here for now. Got another of them. Oh, that's like got a filter built into it or something, if you look at it. Some form of filter built into that one, but again it's the same. It's a we'll fold that up and we'll put a bit of tape around it. That can go in the bag. This isn't bad so far. It's probably worth getting filthy and some rather revolting smells. The other thing is that they had cats in that house, and I mean, I'm an animal lover, I have a dog. But and my friend, she has cats as well, but her and her boyfriend actually take care of their cats and clean the litter tray and stuff. These people didn't, and there was cat mess everywhere. We're going to have to take every single carpet out of the house, unfortunately. That's going to be probably next weekend's job. Another Ethernet cable. Again, that can go in my stock of Ethernet cables. What else have we got here? I think we've got a lot of phone chargers. We've got a lot of mobile phones actually. Oh, and slightly strangely, but we've got some 30 amp chop block, and I think we've got some. Well, yeah, that'll be 20 amp chop block. Well, they can go in my toolbox because they always come in handy. Let's see what else we've got. We've got the base off something that can go in the bin. Don't think that would be of any use to me. Is that I think that's a head strap for like a head torch or something like that. Again, that can go in the bin. Of no use to me really. Oh. That's an interesting one. I'll keep that because I haven't got one. It's 2.5 inch stereo to 3.5 inch, but with the 4 tip ring ground. That's a very odd one. That must. I wonder if that's like for a video camera or something like that. I'll stick that to one side because I don't actually have a cable exactly like that, so you never know when that'll come in handy. We've got here. That's a. These are actually quite good just to break the charge controllers out of. It's an e-cigarette charger. You screw the end of the e-cigarette on there. 5 volts USB. I think these are like 3.6 volts or something around. DC output is 4.2 volts. Also, it really does cook the 18650 or equivalent. But it'll be basically it's for a 9mAh battery, so charge between what 3.6 and 4.2 volts. But the little charge electronics in there are going to be handy. I've got a project coming up actually that they could be very handy to come into. I was going to use a little board that I got from China, but I might actually see about recycling the inside of that instead. Let's keep that. What have we got here? I think that's one for a particular mobile phone. I remember has it got a make on it? It just says SS. I'm not sure. But that's familiar from a few years ago. I'm sure I had a phone or something that had a strange power charge connector like that. I'll put that to one side as well. Ambiguous, just standard generic USB cable, A to B. I think I've got a big bag of them in the attic somewhere, so it can go with them. You can go with the same. So they get used eventually, either for their intended purpose or they get chopped up and just used if I need a USB A for something. So I never chuck anything away like that that's got at least one USB A on one end, because you can use them for other purposes. They don't have to be used for what they were intended for. Right, what's this? We've got a generic remote control. Let's hope that's the remote control for that telly. Indeed, like I said, indeed that telly works. There's another remote control here. Again, that's another generic one without a make on it, so that could be the remote for the telly, we don't know. Or neither of them could. What else have we got here? Samsung. 12 volts, 3.3 amps. So I think that's likely to be for a TV or something like that, isn't it? So generally, if it's about 18 volts, it's most likely to be like a laptop supply. If it's 12 volts, then it can be lots of things. But if it's about 12 volts around the 3 amp mark, 3 or 4 amps, it's a good chance it's like a smallish LCD LED TV, which looks like what that is. Again, if it works, very, very handy little 12 volt power supply. So we'll wrap the cable up on that one. So if nothing else, I've got a good source of power supplies for various projects here. I've actually got some Ethernet cables which I actually needed. I was actually going to have to bite the bullet out and go out and buy a longer one, because I didn't have anything that was apart from one I've got, which is 30 meters, which is ridiculous when it's like, I mean, a 5 was probably be ideal. Well, a 4 would be ideal, but you don't really see 4 meter ones, do you? Right, what else have we got in here? We've got I don't know what I'm going to use that for. I think we've got a rather rattly. Oh, it's a surround sound speaker. Probably just whip the cone out of it, because that'll come in for something else, and the rest can go in the bin. Well, there's a nice bit of speaker cable on it. That'll come in handy for something. So that'll just get stripped down and used for its bits. If it didn't rattle like that, I'd probably even just keep it just as a test speaker, but I'll just get stripped down for its bits. What have we got here? Motorola charger. So we've got one phone charger. In fact, let's see what. We're mostly down to phone stuff here, aren't we? Get rid of some of the other blatant, not phone related stuff. Another USB A to B. Again, not that useful. Every printer that's just connected to a PC and doesn't connect wirelessly like a lot do nowadays needs one of these. So they still do have a use. Put a bit of tape around it. I like whenever I sort out a box like this, even with stuff I'm not particularly going to keep, I just do that. Then when I throw them back in the bag, if I want to get stuff out again, I'm not fighting through this mess again. So, yeah, another good one. Got a figure of 8 there. That probably came off that power supply that we just found, that Samsung one. Always handy, always useful. It's one of them annoying things that whenever you need one, you end up spending half an hour looking for one. Well, I do anyway. So you can never have enough of them. Especially, I mean, we all know, you know, like old tape recorders like we'd use with our Spectrum or our 80s ghetto blasters, or all sorts use that figure of 8 cable. So it's a really handy one to have a few spares of. Like I said, if you're into the old junk, like, well, if you weren't into messing with old junk, I don't think you'd really be watching my channel, to be honest, because that's really what I do. I'm just like messing with stuff which otherwise is either redundant or would just be being thrown away. That's another good cable. Let's get that wrapped up. So I will go through these and put them, like I say, I have a box of the like figure of 8 and IEC cables, so that'll go in there. I have a box of 12 volt power supplies, I've got a box of 5 volt power supplies, and I've got a box of like mixed voltage power supplies, so they will all get decanted into their relevant boxes. Another figure of 8 here. This is certainly replenishing my stock of things like this, you know, figure of 8 cables. Because, you know, if I perhaps sell someone a reconditioned tape recorder for use with their vintage 8-bit computer, I always, you know, supply a good figure of 8 cable with it. So you know, you do go through them, you do use them up. But when I give someone, you know, something that they want to use with their vintage computer, I want them to have everything they need, so I always provide a lead with it. So we've got some more to go with other tape recorders now. I think we're getting quite. Let's see what that is. That's got a USB on it. Ooh, I'm not sure what that's for. I wonder if that'll fit my. Is it in here? No. That might fit my capacitance tester, because that uses a small barrel jack like that and 5 volt USB to charge it, because it has an internal battery. That'd be handy because I've actually lost the original one for it, and I'm using one that I actually bodged up. If that'll fit, and it does look like it's the right, you know, the right small little barrel on that end, that'd be really, really handy. So I'll put that to one side. Yeah, I think we are down to. Well, that's a standard. That's a USB standard. That's that mini USB mini to standard USB. We'll get that one out of the way. I've spotted another USB over there actually. I've got another one there. That's a mini USB to standard. What's this? Oh, we've got some fibre optic. I wanted a piece of fibre optic to play with actually. I think I've got some scrap that I can. That's really, really nice, flexible piece of fibre. That it's for digi audio. If you look at a lot of the old, in fact, even some old computers use it on the back, but CD players and stuff like that, they use that for digital audio. But it's basically a fibre optic link. And that is a really nice flexible one. In fact, I've got a little personal DAT player, which is quite nice to take about because it really confuses people when they think you're being all trendy and hipster and listening to a Walkman, but actually you're listening to DAT. So that makes life a lot easier for getting stuff like recording a CD off my CD player onto the DAT player. I can do it digitally now with that. That's great. That I do have a couple, but they're really, really cheap plasticky ones. That's actually a really, really nice, flexible, you know, good quality one. Brilliant. Well, and there's two of them. Oh, even better. I've got a spare there as well now. Yeah, there were two of them. So they're definitely handy. So not everyone probably uses that, but it should mean I can get a really clean recording onto my little DAT player. So brilliant. I'll put that in my drawer. That's not going in the bag. Right, what else have we got? I think in fact what I'll do. Oh, what have we got there? Well, I can just go straight into my drawers. 3.5 jack to 3.5 jack stereo. Always handy. I'll put that away. What I might well do actually. What's in this bag? Oh. What have we got here? Well, even more. That's for some Samsung product, Samsung mobile phone stuff. Put that down to one side. What I think I'll do is I'll use this black bag and all the like random chargers and cables and stuff I'll just put away, because then we'll just see what else we've. Bloody hell! I think we've got a mobile bonanza here. Yeah, because these are all just like phone charger leads, wires, headphones. Let's get them out of the way for now. Even if one's still got a phone attached to it. Yeah, these are all. I mean, these actually. Let's have a look at some of the voltage. Sony Ericsson. So what does that give out voltage wise? It doesn't say on it, does it? Oh, there it is. So that's 4.5 volts at 700 milliamps that one gives out. I mean, these should all be fairly useful for other stuff. I mean, none of these are going to be useful for phones, I don't think, really, now. But, what's this one? That's a Samsung. And that one is... That's, again, 4.7 volts, 500 milliamps. What have we got here? That's the same, that's a Sony Ericsson one again. That's a Nokia. And that one gives out, 5 volts, 350 milliamps. So yeah, the things that we can find other uses for. Another Sony Ericsson one. Someone certainly like the Sony Ericsson stuff. I think that's a Motorola one. Okay, still finding useful cables. Another 3.5 stereo jack to jack. I'll go in my drawer. They're always very, very handy. Well, that's handy as well. That's 2 phono to 1. It's a combiner. So you put say a stereo in there, you'll get a combined mono out there. I can go in my box of little adapters. Put that to one side for now. Another bits of old phone case and stuff, they'll just go in the bin. I'm not bothering with them. But this is what we got there. It's absolutely, I think it's new, that. What are they? Actel. Little hands-free headphones and a microphone. I think that looks like it's basically new. Will come in handy for something. Let me get you down. Let me just pop you down a bit and let's see what else we've got here now. So we've got. Let's see how many phones we've actually ended up here. What's that? Ah. I don't know what that is, it's some kind of random tool, plastic tool, but I think anyone that's into the vaping will know what that is. That's the new elements for e-cigarettes, by the look of it. I must admit, when the e-cigarettes first came out quite a few years ago, I actually used to make quite a nice little bit of money repairing them for people. Until they obviously, they got mass marketed and you can buy one for a £5 nowadays. But when they first came out, they were still fairly expensive, and I used to make quite a bit. Colleagues at work, you know, breaking them, and I used to repair them quite a lot. That's when I realised what that thing is. I'll probably put that in the bin, it's no use to me. Well, anyway, so we've ended up with, again, handy Apple phone. I'm sure I've got a load of them because I have iPhones, but when you always, it's always handy to have another one. I'll stick that in my drawer actually here. So we've got Fujifilm Fine Pix 5x optical zoom digital camera. I wonder if with that might actually, if these cameras work, there's another camera here as well. Oh, that does it, yeah. Full HD, Sony, Cybershot. Filthy, absolutely filthy. It looks like it's got plaster or something like that stuck on it. But yeah, I wonder if we could perhaps use these for other shots for when I'm actually filming them, because we don't need the microphones or anything, we just need them to be able to record footage, don't we? And that's got a zoom on it. Yeah, it's actually got a proper optical zoom on it, that one. That's quite nice. So yeah, there's a chance we could possibly, if they work, if we can get them to work maybe. That's full of, it looks like plaster. It's something hard that's stuck on it anyway. No, that's the other thing. I mean, some of this stuff, it's going to have personal data on it, so I am going to have to do a lot of, that's why I'm not powering any of these up in this video, because these will have personal data on them. I will have to find a way of completely wiping and eradicating any data on any of them. That hasn't got a SD card in it, fortunately, so we've not got anything we'll have to delete there. It does have its battery. I'll have to see if that'll possibly charge up and whether it works or not. Oh, it's sticky. Ugh. You might have to have a good wash, and I can't actually see where you put the charger in that. Presume it'd use USB somewhere, but I can't actually see at all on that where the USB is. Unless it's there's something horrible and manky in there, that could be the connector. I'm going to wash my hands after messing with all this stuff. I think that'll go in the bin. There's a rather swollen. I don't know if you can make that out, but that's a very, very swollen. Yeah, I'll be careful. I'll put that gently down, and I think that can be got rid of. That's like puffed up rather nastily. Let's see what else we've got here. So we've got two cameras there that might be worth having a look at, possibly for use on filming, maybe. We've got an old Samsung. Oh, we've at least got one smartphone. I mean, most of this stuff's ancient, but Samsung Galaxy, isn't it? That might actually make a usable phone. No, I mean they're all going to be dead, aren't they? None of them are going to fire straight up. But that actually might make a usable phone. Or if nothing else, old little smartphones like this are brilliant for loading like your MP3s and your WAV files onto your Specky. You could just load that absolutely. I've got a tablet that I use exactly the same thing. I have a tablet and it's just loaded full of Spectrum games, Dragon 32 games, stuff like that, and I just literally use it as a tape recorder. I want to play like stuff on my Dragon that's still on WAV. I do have a disc drive for it, but if it's something that's coming off tape, I can just, like I say, I use a little 7-inch tablet, but that would work just as well. And it'd mean you weren't using your standard phone, so possibly worth keeping for that if it works. These not something. What's that? I mean, these were really expensive phones when they're really like top of the range phones when they came out. That's the Ericsson Cybershot. It was one of the first mobile phones with like a really proper digital camera built in. It's, what is it, 3.2 megapixel, when 3.2 megapixel was like a proper, you know, like high-end digital camera. You know, actually had a proper lens hidden behind. So yeah, I mean, these are, you know, we're talking early 2000s, a lot of these phones. They really are early to mid 2000s, perhaps 2010 or so for some of the later ones. These are e-waste, that's all you can really describe them as, but I might have a play with them, I don't know. So anyway, we've got a Sony Ericsson there, there's an old Nokia, that's got a broken screen on it. A Samsung. I used to have a flip phone like that myself, but mine was an LG Chocolate, I think it was called. Well, it's a very similar thing from Samsung. No SIM card in it anyway, good. No battery in it either. I wonder if that's the battery from it. Little Virgin. I think these were like a tenner or something. I'm sure you could buy these ones in Tesco's for like 10 quid. And it's like generic. It's a phone. That's basically it. It is a phone. You can, I think, send basic text messages on it and make calls on it, and that's about it. I'll find someone that, if it works, I'll find someone that might be able to use that actually. Another Samsung there. That's the one that had the cable connected to it. Again, just a very basic, as small as you can get mobile phone, just e-waste. Another pile. Another Sony Ericsson. Unfortunately, again, there's no SIM in it or anything, so I think a lot of these are just going to I might try my luck on eBay, just stick them on as a job lot of as e-waste mobile phones after I've made, if I can get them to power up and I can make sure there's nothing on it. I'm a bit like that about, you know, if I can't get the phone to actually power up, so I can't actually wipe what data's on it, I'm not going to be, you know, I'll smash them, I'll just destroy them, and then they can go in back to the tip in the e-waste thing. But any that I can actually, you know, perhaps get to power up and I can actually make sure there is no data on them, I'll probably just stick them as a job lot on eBay and see if anyone's interested in them. Let's see what else we've got. So another, there's a lot, someone really like their, perhaps they're into the Star Trek and they'll really like their little flip phones, because there's loads of these. What's that? I'm sure I used to have one of them. I think I used to have one of them when I was at university, one of them Nokias, before the smartphones came out. Yeah, it doesn't even have a camera on it. Dear me, these really are a bit of a blast from the past. Oh, ugh. Oh, that's gone sticky. The nice plastic, you know, tactile plastic on it's dissolved. That's one of the old Motorola. Now these were ones that were based on the Star Trek communicators, weren't they? The Motorola Flip. They actually flipped up like that. I think they were based on the communicator from the original Star Trek series. But that is hard. That I'm afraid will. If that was nice, I would probably keep that as just a nice little novelty. But the plastic on it's just gone. It's. No, you can hear that. You hear my finger sticking to it. It's like happens with like things like the Gizmondo and lots of other things that had these really nice tactile plastic cases. And unfortunately, the plastic wasn't stable, and well, it's done what that's done. It's that's a shame. Is there anything we haven't gone through here? No, I think we've been through all. There's another box here. Let's see what's in this one. And then we'll get all these phones out of the way and we'll perhaps see if that telly does anything. This video's already dragging on. This really is a random rambling video, isn't it? Yeah, just another like generic Motorola girly phone. Some more accessories. Sony Ericsson. Sounds like an early touch phone. Oh, it's an Xperia. But again, not really the type of thing that's of any use nowadays. Not for me. I have no use for it. It doesn't look in very good condition actually. It's falling apart. The battery's bent or something on it. And some more generic chargers. And that's about it. I'll throw them in the bag with the other ones. So yeah, we've ended up with a lot of this type. Oh, what's that? Oh wow. A little light. That's quite nice. That's a nice little, well, that's bright. Green, yeah. Strange little things that you find. I'll put that in my drawer. You can always change the colour of the LED in that. I wonder if all these will fit in that box. We'll fill this box full of all this lot. I weren't expecting quite so many mobile phones, I must admit. I will go through them all properly. I'll see what works, what I can get to power up. If there's any I can get to power up and I can actually wipe and make sure there's no personal data on them, I'll just... I've got some other mobile phones I've been intending to do this with for a while that are getting older. And there's no point keeping, you know, a big box of mobile phones around. They're just taking up space. So the ones I've got already, together with whatever I can possibly get that works in there, or at least powers up and I can wipe, I'll just bang us a big eBay lot and get rid of them. Any that I can't actually get to power up because of the data issue, I'll smash them with a lump hammer and make sure they're utterly destroyed, and then they can just go in the waste at the local tip. But yeah, let's have a look at that telly, see if that telly will do anything. There we go. I've got that power supply I found. There we go. I've got a power supply. Hang on, let me get you up a bit. There we go. We'll have to make this video fairly short now anyway, because I'm running out of room on my SD card. Ooh. Let's see what we can unplug. We can unplug that. We don't need that plugged in. We can plug that power supply in. Let's see if it. Whoa. Well, it's lit up. But that went with a bit of flash when I plugged it in. It could just be the charge up from the capacitor of that though. Sometimes they do go with a little bit of a pop when you first plug them in. Right, let's see if this does anything. It's quite well equipped. We've got well, obviously 12 volt DC input, headphones, digital audio out, 2 HDMIs, a VGA, a SCART, DV. It's got digital. It's got a digital input. It's got a digital standard aerial input. So I presume that's satellite dish. That's for standard aerial. Then it's got what's called common interface. We've got a mini YPBR, mini AV. You have to use a breakup lead on them, but shame it hasn't got a stand. But if it does work, I think I do actually have a stand that might fit this. Let's plug it in. Let's see if it actually does do anything. There's a switch underneath. No, it is dead. Let's see. Oh, hang on. No, we've got a green light. I wonder if either of these remotes is the remote for it. Yes, it is. Well, that pressing the power turned the light from green to from red to green, ain't it? There we go. So why would you leave a working TV behind? Like I said, it's not as though it's a Sony or a Bang & Olufsen or anything. It's like a cheap, generic, no brand thing. But I'm sure I can find a use for it. It seems to work all right. Yeah. Obviously, you're not going to pick any channels up with it because I've not got anything actually plugged into it, but that seems to work okay. Brilliant. Yeah, I'll definitely find a use for that. So yeah, got a nice little 22-inch TV out of the deal. So I suppose it weren't so bad for a day of rather hard graft. It was hard work getting all that stuff out of that house. I mean, you want to see the backyard. I know I keep going on and on about it, but like I say, I'm a landlord myself, and people say that, you know, they give landlords a bad rep, really. You know, that they make all this money for very, very little. I can assure you, a decent landlord doesn't make all that much money. Your money goes into keeping the property in good order. The ones that make the money are the slum landlords that literally they spend the absolute bare minimum on their properties. But unfortunately, you do get really, really bad tenants sometimes, and you can get in the situation where it can cost you. I know that I won't say how much it has cost, but I know it has cost my friend numerous thousands of pounds to actually get these people out of the house. So am I sorry that they've lost some electronics which I can make use of? To be honest, not the bit of it. They deserve it. But anyway, that's my rant over. I just thought you might find it interesting to see what junk I managed to get from that little lot, and there is actually some useful stuff here. Like I said, the telly, I'll definitely be able to, it'll make a good little monitor, that. It'll make a very nice monitor for something, actually. Like I said, the phones really are nothing, but I'm most happy, really, actually, because it just saves me a load of hassle, is some Ethernet cables like that. Because like I said, otherwise I'd have been having to order some online. Because I won't go to PC World or anything like that and pay their kind of prices, and they aren't particularly bad quality, so happy with that. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. Like I said, I know this video is probably not for everyone's taste, but hope you enjoy that slight little rant and a look through some of this junk. So I will say thanks for watching and goodbye.